Hi, Phyllis.
Hey, Fang Fang, how are you?
Good, how are you doing? We should do
Good.
this, right?
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to join me today. Could you talk about yourself a little bit to my audience?
Sure.
Go
So
for
my
it.
name is Phyllis, and I am living in Dallas, Texas, and enjoying the weather here, of course, right? I'm originally from the East Coast. I used to work in Manhattan, New York City. I grew up in the northern New Jersey area, which was very, very close to the George Washington Bridge and New York City. I am the director of product development and production for a menswear apparel company, and enjoying creating products and creating fashion, right? Every season for spring and fall, and coming up with new ideas for our designer. So that keeps me busy during the day. And I just got engaged last November. I met a Texan, right?
Yes. Woohoo.
I moved here June of 2019, and I met Michael, I guess it was in August, and we've dated for a little bit, and then our relationship progressed, and now I am a fiance.
Thanks, Phyllis, to introduce yourself. So I know you moved from New Jersey area, the East Coast, to Dallas, and
Yes.
Personally, I'm very curious. How do you make this like a bold decision?
It's interesting. Since I grew up in the New Jersey area, and Manhattan had become very expensive. So there was a lot of people commuting into the city. So maybe I live about 8 miles from New York City, Midtown Manhattan area, like by Times Square. Over the years, my commute was getting longer and longer and longer, because there were more people commuting into the city because they couldn't afford to live in Manhattan. So, the traffic was unbelievable. There's just more people there, right? More people living outside of the city. And it just was becoming, everywhere you go, there was a traffic jam, to go over the George Washington Bridge or the Lincoln Tunnel. Then I started taking a ferry into New York City, which is beautiful. I should share some photos with you and your audience of seeing the New York skyline every day, which was amazing to, be on a boat and go across the Hudson River. And, I started my morning like that, fresh air outside. And then, once you hit the New York City side, it's like, you got to commute to your building. It's definitely changed over the years than when, what I know of it when I was younger. And so when I decided to move to Dallas, I reconnected with an old boss and I came out to Dallas. I literally had one morning to select an area to live. And I think I made my decision in 5 seconds. I made my decision in 5 seconds to accept a job in Dallas, Texas, and move to Texas. Literally in 5 seconds. And I think maybe your audience might know Mel Robbins. She has the 5-second rule, and don't overthink anything, right? So I was probably thinking and prepared to enjoy and, venture into a new city, and a new job, and I'm hired for my expertise in the fashion industry. So, that part of your job, but I wanted to experience a new city, and I picked Texas.
Yeah.
I picked Dallas, Texas, North Texas.
I guess the thing, how do you make that a quick decision is like sitting there for so long, like the longer commuting time over the years and growing longer and longer. So you cannot take it anymore, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm driving to the ferry or driving into the city and sitting in traffic. And then you're kind of like daydreaming, like, where else could I be? And what else could I do? Or what other state could I possibly live in? So yeah, I've been enjoying Texas. I enjoy the Texas weather. It's definitely warmer here than the East Coast. The East Coast, the summer months, it's warmer, maybe September, October. it's still warm, but here there's warmer months and there's a lot of outdoor activities. You know, there's just a little bit more. It's a bigger state. It's a very large state. So their outdoor spaces are amazing here. And, you know, during the pandemic, right, you know, we had patio dining. So we're, you know, like just look at the picture behind me. You know, I had a nice, you know, iced coffee or a champagne, you know, on this patio. It's a rooftop patio that you can enjoy in Dallas, Texas. And, you know, they just have amazing outdoor spaces. And I just really enjoyed it tremendously. So,
yeah. And you also shared some of the, like, the outdoor pictures with some animals like a zebra. You
yes, Dallas, you know, is more of the city, you know, for your audience if they want to visit. You know, it has a little bit of a city, a little suburban, and a little urban. So it has a little bit for everything. You know, really nice neighborhood restaurants and shops that you could walk to. And then when you go to Fort Worth, you know, Fort Worth is about 45, 50 minutes away from Dallas. It is west of Dallas. You pass cattle. You pass cattle on the side of the road. There's, you know, cows and steer and sheep and donkeys. And I've seen zebras are down the block. There's some people that live here have exotic ranches, and you know, when you're driving, you're like, what? That was just a zebra. That was a zebra. And gazelles. I mean, I don't see, you know, yes, we see cows and horses in New Jersey and farms in New Jersey, but these are huge areas of open spaces outside of the Fort Worth area. And I think there's some areas outside of Dallas, which I haven't been to yet, but they're massive, and there's massive amounts of cattle everywhere. It's unbelievable. So Fort Worth, I would say, is a little bit more Texas, authentic Texas than Dallas. Whereas Dallas, you get like the city, a little bit more of the city, you know, the city experience. But the people are very friendly here. That's, you know, very approachable. Weather is definitely nice. Of course, there's no humidity, so your hair is nice and flat and not, you know, city every once in a while, Manhattan and New Jersey, the humidity and your hair is like this big. You have more. I don't have as many bad hair days in Texas than I do back east.
That's nice to know. I know the weather in Dallas sometimes could be very odd, like a severe hot.
Oh, yes.
Or you have like hail, and or you have storm. That these weathers, but overall,
tornadoes.
The tornadoes too, right?
Yeah, that's the big difference between the East Coast. They at least prepare you for like a hurricane, or we call them nor'easters, when it's like a really bad rain and windstorm. Here, a tornado, you know, they tell us here to be weather aware. So either there's a tornado watch or a tornado warning, and there's a difference. Tornado watch means that there was no sightings of any tornadoes. Tornado warning means that somebody spotted a tornado, whether it formulated but didn't touch the ground and went back up, but somebody spotted a tornado. So the areas in Dallas and Fort Worth, you know, area that I'm in, they have sirens in the neighborhoods that tell you to take cover, you know, because there's a bad storm in your area. So just a couple of weeks ago, it was hailing in the backyard. Like literally there was hail, maybe I would say the size of an American nickel, like this big. And then in some areas north of us, it was the size of an American quarter, 25 cents. Like huge. And it could damage your car.
I heard some could be like an egg size.
Yes, right? Yes. Yeah. And it could damage roof, everything. So you have to be weather aware here. And there's certain times of the year, you just have to know that it's when there's warm air and cold air meet. And then that kind of forms like the turbulence for a potential tornado. The sky looks angry when there's about to be a big storm. I don't know how else to describe it. I've never seen anything like it before. It's fast moving clouds and it just comes in so fast. And then it will, rain, wind, severe winds, like 60-mile-an-hour winds or higher. And then, like you said, the hail, that could be, very small or like big.
Yeah.
So you have to be weather aware. That's what they call it in Texas, weather aware.
Weather aware.
Yes.
I guess that's why when I looking at the Dallas area housing, the most of the house is built in like bricks, the surface.
Yes.
Probably because of the weather, right?
Yeah, I think the older homes are wood structure, and then the newer homes in Texas are mainly built with brick. Yeah. If a tornado comes in, I don't think anything, they tell you to stay away from, the outer rooms or stay away from the windows and go into an inner room to protect yourself from a tornado. So it's a little scary. I mean, I was in Dallas. I think it was 2019 when there was a tornado that hit in Dallas, like 7 miles north of where I lived. And there was a office building that looked like a parking garage after the tornado, like it blew out all the windows.
Wow.
And supposedly that was a narrow tornado. Apparently tornadoes can span miles, but that one was very narrow. And it blew out this whole office building, all the windows gone. So they had to knock the building down.
Oh my God. I remember when I just joined the company, you drove me to our studio. And on the way to the studio, there are beautiful, beautiful giant houses along the road. And because of the hail and the tornado, the roof is off. I mean,
yes.
Kind of ruined so badly there.
Yes, because that happened that year. And that was in December when I drove you there. And some people have insurance. I don't know if there's tornado insurance, for your house, but some people have to wait to get their homes repaired. Yeah, it literally went over, I think it went across 3 highways, but whatever was in the path of the tornado was destroyed. So there was schools, there was homes, the office building that I referenced, and I think some dealerships. It was just, it hit, it doesn't matter. Mother Nature is a force.
Yep.
Yeah.
So besides the very different weather, I think the living expense also cheaper than the East Coast in Dallas, right?
Yes. There's no income tax here. So when you work here, like say you work in New York City, like in New York, I have to pay state and federal for, your working, your wages. And then also I think New York City, there's a city tax. But here there's only federal and there's no income state tax. So Florida is also the same way. I think they have no income tax as well. And I think maybe Nevada as well. I would say that, overall, New York City is a very expensive place to, even like for lunchtime when I was working for lunch, like you go get a sandwich or whatever. Sometimes the sandwich or the salad would be like, between $15, $20 US. And it's like, that's your lunch. Like maybe I should bring my lunch to work now, right?
I would do that.
That's a lot, right?
It is. I cannot buy lunch every day with $15 to $20. That's too much.
Yes, I mean, it was a nice gourmet sandwich, I have to say, because there's, a lot of great places to eat in Manhattan, but it gets to be very expensive. The commuting into Manhattan was very expensive. The tolls, if you drove in or used public transportation, it's very expensive no matter which way, myself and my friends went, into the city. But I love the city. You get into the city and Manhattan has a different vibe in itself, right? But I'm not one to compare, between, New York and Texas. Like I could tell, I think I'm ready in my life to live in a place like Texas. Maybe I would not have 10 years ago. But I'm just really enjoying Texas and what Texas has to offer. But yes, you're right. There's a lot of things are a lot cheaper here. Food's a little cheaper, gas is cheaper. I don't have to pay for a commute to go to my office, you know, because I was going from New Jersey to New York. So you have to, whether you're paying a toll or, you know, public transportation, I don't have to do that here. So yeah, so there's pros and cons to everything, right?
Yeah. But overall I love Dallas, because I feel Dallas people, like you said, are more approachable. They are more friendly, and also the working pace is much slower than New York City. Not everybody is like in rush, like hurry up, the kind of a pace, which is really good. Yeah,
and I also think, you know, I think there's more of a work-life balance here than having a work-life balance in New York, because, you know, when you think about it, you work in Manhattan, but you have to commute in and commute out. Sometimes it would be an hour to an hour and a half to just get into the city. And I was only 8 miles away, which was so close. So that's an hour and a half one way. And then I have to go an hour and a half out, you know, so that's 3 hours plus, or 3 hours average a day that I'm commuting. Like I could do a lot more with my 3 hours, right? Or those extra 3 hours.
Such a time waste on the road, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then plus I met my fiance here, right?
That's a big deal, you know, after the move. You definitely made the right decision. Yeah. So you can have it as a weapon to defend yourself.